My name is Raymond Chua. In my first tutorial, I've shown you how I process the Milky Way taken in heavy light pollution places such as in Singapore, and how I use Sequator as a free software to stack the Milky Way images, and then Photoshop to bring out the Milky Way. In this tutorial, call it part 2 if you may, I will attempt to show you two extra things: how to add a noise image and how to blend a properly exposed foreground image or a human subject of interest, maybe a selfie, in the Milky Way after stacking to make the photo more interesting. So let's dive in. First, you need to open up all the camera raw photo in Photoshop. Navigate to the folder in my desktop. In this case, they are actually the top 6 here are the Milky Way photos. So the number is 67 to 72. The next 3 photos, number 73 is a foreground image properly exposed for the foreground. 74 is the human subject or selfie image, and last one, 75, is the dark frame or so-called the noise image, which we'll include in this tutorial. So first, select all of them and drag them into Photoshop, and they will be open in Camera Raw. In my previous tutorial, I did some adjustment of the temperature and tint, but in this tutorial I prefer to leave them untouched. I will explain why. Because we can still make changes during post-processing when after the stacking. So leave it alone, and what we need to do is to select all and then save images. I'll prefer to save in the same location, i.e. at the desktop. And again, I will prefer not to rename it, or just prefer to use the original name so I can still remember which is which. So 67 is the first one, 72 is the last one. The file extension has to be a TIFF format, which gives you the best result. So click Save, and it will automatically save in the folder. Right, I think it's done. So next you want to do is to open up the Sequator and navigate to the TIFF file which you have saved. So 67 to 72 are the Milky Way images. The other 3 we leave it alone first. We just drag the 6 images into Equator, or open them in Sequator. Open, and once it's open, you see them there. By default, the base image is selected to be the middle one. So 69 is selected as a base image. Then as for the noise image, well, actually we have now the noise image, so you double click and navigate to your folder again and see there's a noise image called 75. So the TIFF file is to be used as a noise image. Okay, that's all you have to do. We don't have this, so we select output file name. We will call it something which we can remember or we can relate to this, so we call it stack Milky Way. Right, so save. So we'll now go to the bottom panel. Under composition, align star, it is checked, but instead of accumulation, we will choose freeze ground. as before. And you see selective, so let me clarify. Selective is if it's checked, that means you can go and remove if there is a passing by airplane or meteor even dropping from the sky. You can eliminate them by selectively block them out. Okay, but in this particular set of images we do not have such an issue, so we can actually leave it unchecked. You can leave it checked, is fine, but I leave it unchecked. Sky region, we will try to use the irregular mask again. Okay, and with the irregular mask, and make sure the cursor is big enough, and all you have to do is click and drag to paint over the sky. So if this is a size, it will speed up the painting of the sky. I've said that you don't have to be super precise as long as you try to eliminate going too near to the trees or the buildings or the roads. Okay, the program is smart enough to take care of the sky. The auto brightness has to be turned on as usual. High dynamic range, I experimented. Turning on has a better effect. Remove dynamic noise, yes, on. Reduce distortion, auto, but select complex for fisheye lens. Then the reduce light pollution is uneven. Enhance starlight on. So all these are on except the merge pixel off and time lapse off. Then you click start. You'll take a few moments, so I will fast forward this video. Okay, it's done. It took about 1 minute, 3 seconds. So you click close, and this is the stacked Milky Way. Milky Way is now vaguely can be seen. Because the sky is too dark, so we got to do some post-processing now. So collapse this window, go to the folder, look for the Milky Way stack photo, bring it into Photoshop. Again, you open in Camera Raw, and now this time we need to do all the adjustment. First of all, make the skies brighter. Okay, and for the foreground and the road and the trees, remember we have a properly exposed foreground, so we don't have to worry about them. So increase the exposure, taking note of only the skies. Contrast, we also increase slightly. Highlight, because of the glow in the horizon, we'll try to reduce the highlight as much as maybe 50. We don't have to touch the shadow, but for whites also we just need to bring it down. So again, I must reiterate because the foreground is we have a properly exposed photo for that. Next, we increase the clarity as much as about 40 to make the star pops, and the haze to make the Milky Way even more obvious, more distinct. The other two we leave it alone, and we're happy with that. We say open image. This will be now the result after stacking, and after the adjustment we can enhance the Milky Way using curve adjustment again. So what we do is go to new adjustment layer, click that icon, select curves. Now this is a new adjustment curve layer. We click the hand tools, bring the cursor to any point nearer to the Milky Way with the darker part of the Milky Way, and that is shown on the curve as one point. You can see there's a point there, and as you drag down that point, the darkness of that point will be reduced or will be brought down. Then the white point we bring it to a white point of the Milky Way and drag it up. So you can understand that by doing so, you are now accentuating the contrast of the Milky Way against its background. So you can see an S-curve. I did not do a proper job, but you can take all your time to slowly fine-tune. So go back to layer, and this is your adjustment layer. It comes with a white mask. So white reveals, dark conceals. So we are going to now paint in the portion which we want to invert this mask by Ctrl I, and using a white brush we'll then selectively show what we want to show by painting over. First of all, you must reduce the opacity to something like 30%, not too much in the first place. Paint it over. I use the left bracket key to reduce the brush size. Okay, now the Milky Way is slightly more pronounced. You can see the effect shown on the black mask there. Then we increase the opacity to maybe 40, 50, about 40, and then paint again. You can actually do as detailed as you can, but because of the tutorial time. And also now to reduce the transition between the painted and the non-painted, we use a brush size which is now like small opacity, like 20%, and then increasing the brush size to something bigger like this. Using a right bracket key, we paint the rest of the sky. Again, try to use a low opacity so that you will not be so obvious. Okay, you can see there's a touch of gray surrounding the Milky Way. Right. We've done that. What we need to do now is to bring in the foreground image which we had in place for this particular stacking of the Milky Way. So navigate to the folder, look for the 3773 foreground image, and drag it to Photoshop. Right, so it's open in camera raw. You can see there's a slightly properly exposed foreground. There is an issue of a bicycle trailing light which we will take care later on. So we don't have to do anything, just open in Photoshop, and all I need to do is to stack this layer, bring this layer over to the stack Milky Way image, so that they are both in one document and in two layers. So go to File, Scripts, Load Files into Stack. And the dialog box asks you to either browse to choose a file or add open files. In this case, add open files. And a dialog box sometimes comes out. You say the document must be saved before they can be merged. So anything is not saved yet, it won't allow you to stack. So we say OK first, click OK, then go to cancel. We will redo that step after saving. So File, Save As. For the foreground image, just use back the same file name, no issue, but it's still TIFF file, so save. Say yes to replace and OK. We'll do the same thing for the stack Milky Way. Because we have made some adjustments just now. So again, File, Save As, and Stack Milky Way TIFF file. Replace it with the one if you want, or if you want, can change it to another file name so that your original one is protected. So call it 1 and then save. So this will have, you now have 2 copies, one original, one after editing. Okay, with both done, go back to File, and Scripts, load files into Stack. Add open files. And now it allows you to add. So it's done properly for you. Make sure you check the attempt to automatically align source images. So we want to ensure everything is still in alignment. Although both images are taken without moving the tripod, just to be sure. Okay, we don't want any misalignment. So check that. And then click OK. Sorry. Yep. Okay, click OK. So it will do its stacking and all that and bring the 2 files into one document. You can see now 2 layers there. Okay, the stack one on top and then the foreground below. Okay, the order is not important, but as long as you know what you're doing. Okay, on the top layer is a stacked Milky Way. We want to add a layer mask. This layer mask happens to be a white one, so in fact we want a white mask. Now go to your gradient tool, and the gradients will be black to white, and click a point at the bottom, because the bottom is the one you want it to be replaced. So click a point on the bottom and drag up, and holding the shift to keep it vertical, and let go. You can see now the bottom layer is replaced by the what is below it. Okay, but the sky part, which is essentially the same. So that's the beauty of a gradient tool. You're not happy with the gradient tool, or you need to redo another dragging of the point, do so. You can do as many times as you like until you get the optimum result you want. Okay, can you see that the foreground is now replaced? And it also means you also introduce this bicycle trail light, yeah, the red one. So we need to take care of that after that, which we will do later on. Okay, so once you've done that, we now bring in the selfie and human subject from the folder. In this case, it's 3774. Drag to Photoshop. Okay, this photo is taken with the intention to have a human figure holding an LCD panel, shining the light below to see the ray of lights, and it's exposed for 4 seconds. So the skies is not of concern, but it's the human subject, which this photo was taken. So there's no need to do any adjustment. If it's fine enough, good enough, just open file, open image. It will be open as another separate document, and we just need to copy this file as a layer and paste it over to the Milky Way layer. So Control A to select all, Control C to copy, then go to your original files. On the top layer, you Control V, paste. So what is pasted on top covers what is below. So you know what is to be done, correct? Just introduce a mask. So by clicking the mask, additional mask, since it's a white mask, we want to invert it so that become black, and sort of blocking whatever is there. So black conceals. So we want to review, we must paint it white. So go to your brush tool and make sure it's very soft brush, and the opacity probably I need to increase it to a bit to 50%. Okay, you don't want to be too soft, too low. And then with the brush to control, the left bracket key to make it smaller, we can now paint over roughly where the human subject is going to be. Okay, as you paint, you're reviewing what is below, what is underneath. Okay, you see that it's still very transparent, semi-transparent, so just keep increasing the flow of it by keep repeating it. The flow is actually the one controlling the opacity. The more you paint, the more you review below. Okay. Now, if you leave like that, it's quite obvious something is added on. So I like to also paint to the side as well, so that it is not as obvious as what was done. As for the bicycle trail light, the moment you paint over, is also covered. Okay, it's actually making the bicycle trail light gone as well. So I think this is absolutely fine after the stacking. Right. So actually, you can actually call it a day and finish it off. But there's an issue here with the curvature due to the fisheye lens. So I'm going to show you how I take care of the distortion. First of all, with these three layers, we want to collapse them into one first by Control Shift Alternate E, and that will give you a snapshot of all the three combined. And what you need to do is to go to Filter, Adaptive Wide Angle, click, and you will open up a dialog box. And in this case, correction is based on fisheye. Just change the fisheye. Scale 100%. Focal length is 15 mm because that's the lens I was using. Crop factor is 1 for full frame. If yours is a crop factor, change it accordingly, and the rest unchanged. So just click OK after this. Alright, now what we do is we will click a point at the end of the road. We know this road is going to be straight, so as you drag along, the program is smart enough to know that this is a fisheye lens, so the curvature is will be automatically built in as an algorithm to correct this way. So as you drag on and to the end, you let go, you will straighten up for you. If you are not happy, do another pass on the other side of the road edges. Same thing, but this time no need to curve so much. You will not curve so much. Don't go beyond that. You will not work. So go to whatever inside and let go, and you will still correct for you. So now it looks not quite badly distorted, okay? But your result is something like this, okay? If you turn off the bottom three layers, turn off the eye so you can see the top layer only. You see some now, because of the correction, you have some empty spaces, which is now got to be cropped away. So go to the crop tool, okay, and clear whatever preset you may have there, and then just drag up. Try to include as much as possible, and only ignoring those areas you don't want. Okay, the top part, Milky Way is quite high up, so if you drag it down, it means that you're losing a bit of a sky. So I would rather leave this empty space there. I will show you how to take care of these three areas, including the bottom one. So click yes, commit it, and now let's try to take care of the empty spaces. Go to your lasso tool, the third one from the top. Lasso tool, click, and then lasso the area you want to take care of, but make sure this second one is checked. This is add to the selection. That means when you select more area, you will just keep adding. Okay, add to selection. So just click and drag. Cover the first one, then do the second one, and then do the third one. If you find that you are not happy with the selection, okay, you can repeat. As long as just do another time over it. That's it. Okay. So once that's done, go to Edit. Then you see Fill, and then this dialog box for the content. If it's not already shown there, you click, you see quite a number of selection. It is the content aware you want to select. Okay, and the rest we don't have to worry about, and just click OK. And it's after a short while, it's going to fill in whatever pixels which are to be filled in. Okay, sometimes the algorithm is smart enough. Okay, Control D is to remove the marching end so you can see better. You can see the top part is almost perfect, no telltale sign, but it's the bottom part which you can see the issue with the content aware. You fill up with another pair of legs there. So not to worry, we just zoom in to have a closer look, and we're going to replace this part with the neighboring or nearby pixels. So to that, I will go to Clone Tool, and Clone Tool, you just need to select an adjacent layer, press alternate press, and then release, and then bring over and paint. See, you will automatically do that. Do the same thing for on this side as well. Okay, and what you're doing is try to fill in the neighboring pixels closer to this area. Do as much as you like to make it less obvious. Intention is to not to give people a telltale sign that it has been manipulated. Okay, I think it is good enough for me. You can do a proper job later on if you want. Okay, so we have now completed the process, stacking the photos, and then correcting the Milky Way, and then put in the foreground object and then a human subject, and then also correct the distortion, and then fill up the empty spaces after cropping. So that's all about this. I'm to show you for this tutorial. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial as much as I enjoy delivering it. So please click like and subscribe to my channel, and I will be motivated to more tutorial in the future. Okay, thank you and goodbye.